Now bumps his way up ahead of Ryan Pavitas, both with a consecutive lap combined of 102.
Yeah, 102 flat and a 102.1 as he struggles and goes off the track right there. Currently third and fourth overall.
Ryan coming off the track in a weird way there. Looks like may have had a steering issue. Something happened there. He came straight off the track. A weird spot to pull off. May have had a little car issue there.
And if you're new to the sport, the Kyosho on the side of the car is the style of car, if you will, that he's using out here to compete with.
Looking here at Spencer Rivkin, Team Associated driver. Making his way onto the backside of the track here, down that side straight. Rivkin trying to put in a few fast laps there right at the end, and time is going to run out. So Ryan Lutz is going to top that one with a 102 flat. That is going to put him third overall as of right now here for this round of seeding for Open E-Buggy. Another heat to go coming up next.
And how about Cole Ogden right at the very end of that one? He jumps up into second place for this particular group. And fourth place overall, a 102.04, 102.02 for Ryan Lutz. Again, oh so close. And Pavitas, 102.1. What a great group of competitors.
Yeah, some very, very, very close racing here between all of these drivers.
Again, that is a three consecutive lap time, and that's how they base this session, their seating session. And some quick highlights there once again. We'll see if Scotty has somebody to talk to in just a couple of moments. That will wrap up that session. We'll have another Open E-Buggy session here in just a couple of moments.
In the meantime, let's sit it down to Scotty Ernst for another interview on the driver's stand.
All right, thank you very much, Mike. We're down here with Cole Ogden, HP driver from Atlanta, Georgia. Cole, got a couple runs on the track now. Tell us how it's going.
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, the track's awesome. Joey did a good job. The dirt's crazy, a bunch of rocks. But so far the cars are pretty different. I had to do a few little tweaks for some stuff that I'm used to back home to make it work for here. So luckily right there in the e-buggy it proved that it worked, so we'll relate it to the nitro and keep trucking.
Cole, you've been around for a while. You've traveled around the world racing everything. This is an amazing opportunity we have to showcase the hobby that we all love to thousands of race fans here at Visions.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I mean, this is what RC's always needed. I mean, yeah, money's great, but I mean, this is the spectacle of racing. Well, this will be 30 grand. I mean, that's pretty crazy, man. It's just gonna make RC. I think it'll bring a lot more people into the industry. Like from the outside looking in, they're like, wow, these guys are playing with toys, making this much money. So I think it's definitely a good thing. Hopefully, more races in the future end up like this. Obviously the money, but the live broadcast is amazing. I mean, we've never had that before, so it's pretty cool to see, and you guys are doing a pretty kick-ass job. So,
well, always good to see you. Best of luck, and his shirt says it all, folks. Eat, sleep, race, repeat. Cole Ogden, locked and loaded here at Visions.
Awesome stuff. Thanks, Scotty. Thanks, Cole. And congratulations, Cole, on a great session right there to fall into fourth overall, second in that group. Solid effort for him right at the very end of the session. Once again, we'll take a quick break here, and we'll be right back with more radio-controlled action.
Ready for any challenge. Maxxis tires can handle even the most punishing off-road conditions. Maxxis tires. Tread victoriously.
Why do racers from around the world shop at AMA.com Performance Sports and Hobbies? Because winners and world champions shop with the best. We have the hottest new racing kits on the market and the parts and accessories you need to make it to the A-Main. Your competitors already shop with us, shouldn't you? Find out why we're the world's #1 source for the gear you need to make it to the podium. Join the race. Log on to AMAin.com today. AMAin.com.
Ken Stout back with you. Mike Garrison sitting alongside, and Scotty Ernst up there on the driver's box, keeping up with all the action there in the pits as we continue on here with our seating session. Open E-Buggy session once again, 8 minutes in total, as we bring out some of our players, including the young, is it Phi Long Nguyen?
Yes, Phi Long Nguyen.
So we'll find out how he does, one of the youngest competitors out here, and did a great job a little bit earlier in the open class with the Nitro car.
Yeah, he has come on the scene very, very strong here, and is possibly one of the up-and-coming drivers that we could see run these guys down for a national, if not a world championship title in the coming years. I mean, the amount of talent that that little guy has is pretty amazing, that's for sure. He went from, as we were talking about earlier, he started out in the sportsman class, and in a matter of a year or so, he's already up here running with the pro guys. So very cool to see him, and happy him and his dad were able to make it out here this weekend.
Camden Line also had some success out here a little bit earlier in the day, as did Joshua Vigil. Joshua Vigil out here in this particular session, so we'll see if they can parlay that into the electric car that they're competing with. Again, a number of the same drivers competing in both categories, both electric and nitro. Wow, sailing that thing out there.
Yeah, and I believe that's going to be Phi there that we're following right now as he's working his way through the infield section. Caden Fuller, the younger brother to Mason Fuller, who we saw Mason Fuller out there earlier. He is currently sitting second in this class as of seeding here for this round, just behind Jared Tebow. So we'll see what Caden's got here for this one. Joshua Vigil back out there.
Another aspect to this sport that we've not talked about, I mean, at least for me, I just thought that the driver did everything. I thought the driver was down there on pit road, would bring the car to the pits, refuel it, send the car back out, but it's not the case. They have mechanics, they have people that help them out on pit road.
They sure do. It's just, it's basically a scaled down version of if you could combine a little bit of everything from IndyCar to Formula One to off-road truck racing to motocross all into one, then you pretty well have RC racing. But it's definitely a team effort, whether it be, you know, you're driving for a professional team or whether it just be your family and friends. There's a lot of help that goes into it and helping one another, and I think that's part of what makes it such a close community as well. You know, we're all competitors, but at the same time, we're all friends off the track and always willing to lend a helping hand.
Of course, as we get into our races, they will be a good bit longer than the 8 minutes scheduled here for these sessions, and that will involve a pit stop. That's why we bring it up and talk about it. We'll have a very exciting race format come Saturday for our invitational category, as is the opens. So we look forward to some of the strategy that goes on, and we talked about it before. You just mentioned IndyCar and Formula One car, where there is a strategy. If you're going to have one pit stop, do you do it early? Do you do it late? Maybe if you're in the back of the field, you do it early, and you find yourself some clean track. Try to rip off some good, clean laps with no traffic around there, and see if you can come out on top and undercut them, if you will, you know, for the guys that pit towards the end of the race.
Yeah, I think in our Nitro races tomorrow, I believe they're going to be 10-minute qualifiers. I'm going to bet as hot as it is, we've got a few guys. I mean, every once in a while you'll get an Adam Drake or two out there that'll make the 10-minute runs. But as hot as it's going to be, I got a feeling everybody's going to have to pit at least once. And like you say, pit strategy is going to play a big part in it, especially on this tight of a course with that many cars on the track. So it's going to make the exciting show even more exciting.
And help me out with tire compounds as we watch this session continue on here, approaching the halfway point of 4 minutes. But talk to me about the compounds, because we heard one of the drivers say he tried the super soft and felt like that they were driving away from him. He comes back to a soft compound. Can these guys burn the tires off of one of these things?
Oh, absolutely. I tell you, especially with the nitro cars and the longer main events and stuff, you can go from a fully treaded tire to an absolutely bald tire in the matter of one race, you know, especially depending on the different compounds. And that's something that these guys have to think about as well, is one compound may work a little bit better, but if it's a softer compound and they can't keep the tire together and the tire goes away towards the end of the race, maybe it's better to start out with a little bit harder compound. So it's the tire game is definitely, it's an animal of its own, and these guys, that's a big part of this for sure.
And you had also mentioned not just compound, but tread design itself. There's a lot of different options here that everybody has to choose from.
There's so many. At this point, there's a handful of major brands, obviously, that all have their own tread compounds, but they've all got their own compounds, own treads. And then on top of that as well, you have these tires, rather than be obviously inflated with air and that they have foam inserts in them. And those inserts, they come in different shapes, sizes, densities, all of that. So all together, you've got quite a variety. Not to mention, of course, the wheels. Pretty standard anymore. An 8-scale buggy wheel is an 8-scale buggy wheel, but there's also stiffeners you can put in wheels. Some wheels flex more than others, and all of that's taken into account for a lot of these guys. And it's a real puzzle piece.
Absolutely incredible. Thanks for that info, Mike. And I did not realize that they didn't have air inside of these things. I'm thinking almost nitrogen, because they are absolutely like the big race cars, or big brothers, if you will. But you're telling me they have foam on the inside, so different densities of foam is going to change everything. It's going to change the spring rate, if you will.
Absolutely. And a lot of these guys, maybe not as much here for the 8-scale scene, but especially for 10-scale indoor racing, a lot of guys, you have to break in foams. And, if you get a new set of foam, it may handle than a set that's kind of broke in and wore in a little bit. And you'll see guys, sometimes they'll even cut a good tire off to replace just the foam inside, or vice versa. They'll keep the old foams and mix it with a new tire. There's a lot of different combinations that these guys will put together and do just to gain tenths and thousandths of a second on one another.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. And I'm sure with all those options out there, it's easy to think yourself in and right back out of the box.
That's absolutely right. And hopefully for these drivers, we don't see this happen, but it's not uncommon. So these basically are glued. The tires are glued to the wheels using we call it tire glue, but it's a heavy-duty super glue. Fast-drying super glue is what it is. And these guys, from time to time, a tire will come unglued, a foam will come out. So you may see one of those foams, whether you're meant to or not, before the week isn't over.
We've been watching Joshua Vigil here, and I've seen him stuff the front end a couple of times. He flies it really, really high, and it lands hard, and he, obviously compresses the front dampers here to the point that the car digs in. Does he make an adjustment driving, or is that more of a setup adjustment? He'll come off the track and make a front damper adjustment.
Again, it's kind of a fine line. It's one of those things. It depends on the adjustments. Can make such a big difference for these guys that if he adjusts it to where one area it's better, it may totally alter it in another area of the track that actually slows him down even more, rather than, like you're saying, just slow his driving style down, take that section a little slower and attack where he can on the rest of the track. So it all kind of varies on driving style and cars. All of these brands that are out here this weekend, all these cars are fantastic cars. They all have great drivers behind them, but everybody has their own driving style and their own field of what they want out of a car. So what he wants out of a car and what another guy wants out of a car may require a setup change for one and maybe just a driving style change for another.
A simple question with not a simple answer.
That's right. That's right. That is right.
Like everything else in racing,
Yep.
So many options, so many variables. Two guys going at it right there, very, very close. And that's what's always gotten me. I even whenever I was able to drive one, sailed right over his competitor and went right up over that step up. But when I was driving one, the second I got around somebody else, it immediately consumed me, and I was not able to drive my car as good any longer.
Yeah, that has a tendency to happen. That's we like to call that whiskey throttle. You get next to somebody, you get a little whiskey throttle and try to hold them off. You don't want them to go by. Looks like this session has come to a close. Caden Fuller, younger brother to Mason Fuller, going to take the win. A great shot there of the amainhobbies.com demo track over there. You can see the kids and the spectators lined up, checking out all the vehicles and getting their chance to get behind the wheel of an RC car as well.
Couple of highlights here as Scotty will gather somebody up for us to talk to there, but that effort by Caden Fuller, good enough to put him 10th overall at 102.77.
Yeah, Jared Tebow right now still holding on to that top spot.
Felong Wen, we were talking about him, the young competitor, does a great job as he was second overall in that particular group. Ends up 12th overall in terms of the 17 qualified and open e-buggy. And we'll give Scotty a break here on this particular one. We're going to go to commercial break. They're going to groom this track here for a few minutes, and we'll continue on with another e-buggy category.
Upgrading. It's what we do. So upgrading is what we did. Introducing the IQ equipment lineup powered by HMF. Designed for the most adventurous side-by-sides in the world, IQ equipment has the strength to tackle the off-road head-on. Bolt-on American-manufactured steel. Engineered to increase strength, durability, and protection, so you're equipped to handle the most extreme performance. When you're ripping through the desert at full throttle, or tearing through some of the most brutal terrain in the world, you're going to need equipment that keeps you moving at a high level. Because when you have the performance, and you have the protection, you then have the confidence to actively pursue your passions, just as freedom was intended to be. HMF, equipped to perform.
And once again, welcome back here. Nice little breeze out there, albeit very hot. I'm sure they enjoy a little bit of moisture as we take a look at that little demo track. You've talked about it a couple times, so if you are here on the site at Mid-America Outdoors and you want to drive an RC car, come on over. They've got something for you over there. A-Main Hobbies is here on site and have some demo cars.
And it looks like we are going live here with this session, our final heat of open e-buggy here for our first round of seating. In this one, we got Ryan Days, Gabriel Montiel, Austin Wick, Alex Gwynn, Jacob Vigil, Ethan Mechanic, Braxton Coley, and Live RC's very own Tyler Hooks.
Currently at the top of the field, Jared Tebow, 101.6, followed up by Mason Fuller, 101.62. 17 thousandths between first and second as we bring out this final group. And we talked about the track changing here. We'll find out if anybody can get close. The last group did not. The quickest one ended up 10th overall. But that's not to say that that things can't change up here. Once again, they've sprayed this thing down with water, groomed it up a little bit. We'll see if anybody can get after it and get inside of the top 10. 3 consecutive laps is what you're looking to put together here in this session. And that's not how you do it.
All right, that is not the right way to start out. Maybe you got that out of the way and
got to go for it sometimes.
That's right. You can only go up from here.
They've given us a couple different angles. This is from the other side of that step up. We're easily confused in here, so see it from one side, then see it from the other. You wonder where they're at. Beautiful job there. I just love it when they sail that thing over into that right-hander. It's awesome.
Yeah, you saw Ethan come on to the start straight there, start swapping back and forth. A good save for him. There he has a little mistake on that step up, and you see how that loose dirt get caught up in that, and you're going to be there for a
50-50
minute.
tube grind, man.
Yes. Tony Hawk would be proud.
Yeah, exactly. Not the best way for a fast time, but entertaining to watch nonetheless. And how about that? Checked up right there, had presence of mind to realize there was another competitor right there. Wanted to get some good, clean track, so checked up a little bit and to take another run at it.
Yeah, it looks like 5 laps into this one. Braxton Culley going to be leading this heat race. He's looking, he's outside the top 10 as of right now. Still quite a bit of time left for him. Austin Wick there in that second place spot. Austin Wick's fast lap on the track, a 20.8. We're looking at Ethan Mechanic here. His fast lap right now is a 21.5.
And I believe quick of the day so far in the 20.2 area. So some room to grow there, if you will. And again, got into another competitor there and then out into the wall. And we'll take a look at Hooks here as well, Tyler Hooks. Tyler Hooks currently sitting third inside of this group. Fast lap time, 21.34. Actually has the quickest lap of the group. I say that, and Tyler Hooks puts a 20.9 on the board.
Yeah, Tyler out there driving. I believe that is going to be the Mugen buggy.
Austin Wick right behind him puts a 20.8 on the board. So they're getting a little bit quicker as they go along here and get a handle on it. Again, working that step up. And we saw some guys a handful of groups ago, almost the entire group was clearing that step up. We've really not seen that happen since that group. I believe it was the first e-buggy group that we saw that figured out how to clear that step up right there, and we've not seen it since. And the second group right behind them had some very talented invitational drivers in it, but chose not to go that route.
Yeah, Tyler Hooks putting it together. Austin Wick out front here in this one.
See, landed just a little bit short there on that one, and you see the rebound in that car as it kicked the back end up a couple of times. Oh, man, ate a rut right there. There's a hole right there. We've seen that develop, and one of the cars hit a rock that peeled up out of the track, and, of course, a hole developed right afterwards, and it's just right in the sweet spot where they want to land.
Here we're looking at Braxton Culley. Just saw him. He looked like a Olympic high jumper coming over the step up. Laid the cars completely sideways. Just barely cleared the top of it. We'll see if he does it again. There he does it. Perfect line right there for him. The TLR driver out of Carthage, Missouri.
Yeah, I was watching that car in the long right-hand sweeper. Let's see if it happens again. He was on the throttle right here really hard last time. Right there, it just looks like it's a little bit tight. Pushing just a little bit, but everywhere else, man, this thing is handling great.
Yeah, Braxton right now that time by with a 21.3.
Oh!
Big mistake there.
What a shame. Doing a beautiful job of that step up as well.
Yes. that third lap every time.
Never fails, right? Yeah, he is definitely stringing one together here and still has some time to work with, about 2.5 minutes. So puts together 3. He's definitely on the pipe for sure.
Well, it looks like as we're finishing up here, our final heat of Open E-Buggy with 2 minutes left to go here in this one. Jared Tebow's time, that 1:02. I think it's going to be pretty safe here in this one.
You said that last time and they got nipped.
That is true.
The announcer's curse.
That is true.
Hook's hoping to change that. Well, a beautiful job right there. Again, right behind a competitor. We'll find out if, and how about that? Runs a perfect lap right down underneath him. Continues on, chasing that 3-lap average.
Braxton is one of the few drivers, he's really got the step-up section figured out. That's going to play into his advantage, especially as the face of that step-up gets worse and worse. Whoa, getting a little bit out in the loose stuff there.
Boy, backed it into that corner nicely.
Minute 15 left here to go for these drivers here in Open E-Buggy. Our final heat for our first seeding round.
Really looks good. I mean, carrying a ton of speed here, and our top 3 drivers all in the 22nd range here now. Austin Wicks, Tyler Hooks, and Ethan Mechanic. Austin Wick with the quickest 3-lap average so far, currently 13th overall in the E-Buggy division. Watching Wicks right now. Really opened up the entry of that turn well. It carried a lot of momentum, really did a beautiful job. And I missed a step up there just a little bit.
Yeah, Wick seems to be adapting to this track very well. And as you mentioned earlier, I think a lot of this is going to be when it comes down to race time, not necessarily the fastest lap. It's going to be the most consistent laps on this track. It's very easy to get caught up. It's going to be easy to get caught in one of those holes and end up upside down. So being consistent, not crashing, I think is just going to be a key to the racing this weekend.
And Wick running that step up the same way every time, so choosing not to try and clear it and put together these consistent laps here. He's got a couple of them working here. We'll see if he can better his mark just a little bit. I feel like he's losing a little bit of time right there. That's probably the difference.
It looks like these drivers finishing up, working their way off the track here in this one. And Wick is going to take
how about that?
Yeah, quite a finish there.
Good for him. Yeah, he really strung together a handful of very consistent laps there for Austin Wick. As that wraps up that final group and the Open E-Buggy division, Austin Wick will end up 13th overall, a time of 103.4.
Yeah, that means Jared Tebow going to be walking back to the pits here in this one after our first seeding round as your Open E-Buggy fastest. He's got to be happy about that, a little confidence. Another seeding round coming up next here for these guys in just a short bit. Mason Fuller for the round is going to go second. Ryan Lutz will go third. Cole Ogden fourth. Ryan Pavitas rounding out your top 5 for Open E-Buggy.
And once again, we will get it over to Scotty.
Here on the driver's stand with Austin Wick, team associate J Concepts, driver from the greater Chicagoland area. Austin, good to have you guys here. Tell us about your run.
Yeah, it was a little rough in some spots, but we're still trying to figure out the track, so you can't complain with what you have out there. There's a lot of competition. I'd say it's pretty solid, but definitely something to work towards.
When you started racing, you started as an indoor 10-scale guy, you know, grew through the years. Now this year, really, you and your dad getting hot and heavy in the 8-scale.
Yeah, we're from a little bit up north, so it's definitely more 10-scale most of the season just because it's hard to get outdoors up north in the wintertime. So definitely during the summer, we're trying to hit the 8-scale hard.
What do you think about the chance to win $1,000 in Open for TQing around? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's always sweet about this event. Everything else here is pretty sweet, too. This whole event it came together to be something great.
Well, it's good to have you guys here. Best of luck.
Yep, thank you.
All right. right, there you go. Austin Wick from Chicago. He's digging his time here, having a good time.
Thanks a lot, Scott. I also saw that cool rag around his neck. Nice and warm up there, huh?
It is definitely a hot one. You can see how much water they laid down in between the races and how fast it just soaks it up.
It is. I agree with you. I think 50% of it just goes up immediately with this sun just soaking it up. It is brutal out there. Guys doing a great job, though, as is the staff. We appreciate everything they do. And once again, we'll take a quick break here. We'll come back on the other side. And once again, we are back out here at the RC track. RC Racing at Visions Off-Road, presented by A-Main Hobbies. We appreciate everything that A-Main Hobbies has done for us and continue to do here, especially this weekend with a beautiful display set up and some demo cars over there. If you'd like to try your hand at this, we would urge you to do so.
Yeah, it looks like taking the track now. We just finished up with our open e-buggy class, which had a mixture of our open nitro buggy guys and our open invite nitro buggy guys mixed all into one class. Now we're on to our sportsman e-buggy. We saw our nitro e-buggy or nitro buggy class, sportsman class. We're going to get this right. Earlier on, and we only saw a few competitors in it. But the sportsman e-buggy class, we talked about maybe the electric buggies being a little bit easier, a little less work to get into, a little more fun. You can see there's a lot more guys here in our sportsman e-buggy class than there is in sportsman nitro buggy.
Yeah, by the way, it's my job to make all the mistakes here today.
Well,
so don't be doing my job for me.
Good shot there of all the drivers on the driver's stand here in our sportsman e-buggy class as they making their laps here. Let them get a few into this one. We'll see who's sitting on top of the leaderboard here for our seating practice here for sportsman e-buggy.
Yeah, the skill set dramatically different here, but you've got to start somewhere, and that's what we were talking about. Go over there, try one of those cars out, have some fun, see where you're at, and then come out here and get after it. And I'll tell you, I mean, even the sportsman competitors that are out here are very impressive to me. I mean, I promise you, I can't go out there and drive one of these things that fast.
Yeah, it's a learning curve for sure, but it's a fun learning curve all the way through. And that's another thing. RC racing, it offers a lot of different genres that you can join into, a lot of different classes, a lot of different skill level classes, and at some of the events you even have age level classes, and those can be broken down into skills as well. Which there's a little bit of racing for everybody. And like Ken said, if you're here this weekend and you want to check it out, not only stop by to watch, but get in on the action. A-Main has an awesome demo track set up just to the left side of the actual racetrack. And a fantastic way to watch a little short course racing in the background, some side-by-side racing, watch some RC racing on one side, and drive an RC car yourself.
It's funny watching the corner workers as well. You know, when the invitational guys are out there, they're relaxed, standing around, and everything's good. When the sportsman drivers are out there, their head's on a swivel. They keep a good
keeping them busy. Keeping them busy.
It comes at you from all directions. They don't really care about that tube. Thanks so much, and there you go. Thanks for giving us a great example.
Well, looks like 5 laps into this one, Kenneth Drake going to be out front with a 3 consecutive fast laps combined. Is going to be 112.2 for him, leading the way early on. Brian Johnson, that number 2 spot. Bontrager in that number 3 spot, and Taylor Janda in the 4.
And I think that's where we'll start seeing the biggest discrepancies, right? And even the lap times. If you look at the lap times, the 20.4s, if you will, 20.5s, we're 23.5 here, 23.4. Yeah, a big difference for sure, and such a short lap. But it's the consistency lap and lap again that the pros are able to put together. So you see the 101 that we saw, the 101 flat, I believe it was. I know it was in the electric category, but still it's the consistency to put those 3 together, which separates them from the novice competitors who come out here and you might get one good lap and then you make a mistake. But as you mentioned before, it's all part of the fun. I mean, you put yourself in the proper class and you find other people at your skill set level and you go have some fun, and then you don't even really notice the difference.
Yep, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Billy Womack back out on the track. Scotty talked to him a little earlier. Very cool backstory for Billy Womack. I did not realize that he had come from the full-size crawling world, the rock bouncers and all that, and worked his way into RC, and now is here racing this weekend, which is fantastic to see.
Keeping an eye on Taylor Janda there, currently 3rd inside of the group.
Yeah, Taylor working his way back around, this time by the line there, a 22.5. As you can see, the track just continues to get a little rougher each and every session.
Oh, man, ate it big right there. Big cartwheel as they continue on here in this session. Time is ticking down with about 3.5 minutes left.
Yeah, Johnson going to be out front. Drake in 2nd, Jan at 3rd. Our 2nd round of seating practice going to be coming up next after this session, I do believe.
Everybody's spaced out here nicely. At least with some good, clean track to work with. And we'll go back to one of the replays. Oh, man, just flew it a little bit too far, nose down, and stuffed it.
Janda coming back around there through the step-up section. None of these drivers going for that step-up jump. They're taking the safe line there, bouncing off the face of it. Talked about a little bit earlier, the face of that step-up is going to get pretty worn out by the end of Saturday, so it'll be interesting to see the lines that these guys start taking. Oh, Janda catching a hole there, coming onto the front straight.
Yeah, left rear right in that hole and launched it. You take a look at pit road. Janda on and off and outside and under pit road and back on the track and going again. No harm, no foul. See if we can have another look at this. Ooh. There it is. It's kind of a redirection from a rut just previous to that and planted that left rear in that hole.
That's the tricky part about this racing surface right now is there's just enough dust on top for these guys to kind of slide around. But, boy, when they catch a hole or a little bit of traction, the cars go flying.
Yeah, and not unlike the big cars, if you can hit a hole and you're on the throttle, maybe spin the tire a little bit, there's a good chance you might be able to blast through that hole. If you're off the throttle and it just buries that tire and the sidewall inside of it, it's going to send you for a ride.
Luckily for these drivers, they are safe up on the driver's stand and not strapped into these. Because if these guys were strapped in, we'd need some more medical personnel right away.
There's some pretty wicked tumbles and stuff in the nose of one of these things in a big car and a real car is a really bad day.
1 minute left to go here in this one. Dylan now taking over that number 1 spot here, Sportsman E-Buggy.
Yeah, and these guys have shaved a couple of seconds off. They were at 112 initially and down to the 110s for their 3-lap average. Getting a feel for it, getting a handle on it. I'm impressed with them. I think it's great, and I agree with you. I mean, I think it's going to be some of the best racing we have of the weekend. Get them all out here on the track together and let them go at it.
Coming back through that infield section there, Brian Johnson, he is sitting 2nd right now with a 110.7. So 7/10 off the 3-lap time of Dylan. Taylor Jand in that third place spot there with a 1:10.8. So even these guys only tenths of a second apart, separating them.
Yeah, right back to what I said, is get yourself in a group where the skill set's about the same, and the competition is great. It's good fun for everybody. Coming around this right-hander, this jump right here, man, they can really launch it. And we've seen that jump launch them to the inside, launch them to the outside. I mean, so far that they go off the track either way. So you've really got to hit it straight because you're on the throttle so hard. Another one where you're glad there's not a real driver in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quick barrel roll, right?
Absolutely.
And the cars are very durable. I mean, we've seen some pretty wicked wrecks. We've seen them stuff it into the tube pretty hard. I mean, right there, it's a pretty hard hit. And continue on. Seems to be no damage. It doesn't look like the front end's out of line.
Yeah, I'm going to say that with some of the hits that we've seen taken this weekend already,
like that one.
Just like that, these cars are pretty dang tough, and they're up for the task. That's for sure.
Awesome stuff. I mean, it's just a good feeling to know that you can go spend that money and the thing's pretty durable. You know you're going to make some mistakes. You know you're going to stuff it, and you don't want to have to bring the car back and fix it every single time that happens. So it's a great peace of mind, no doubt. Beautiful look here at the track. Mid-America Outdoors is where it's all going on. Off to the far distance there to the right-hand side is the side-by-side track as well. A lot of stuff going on. There's a pool out here. There's a lazy river out here. There's a drag strip out here. They're going to have concerts here all week long, including Buck Cherry, I believe, tomorrow night.
You're missing the key event of the weekend, which is the downhill Barbie Jeep race.
I was not aware of that one.
Yes.
Exciting stuff everywhere here, and Scotty's right in the middle of it. Scotty, who do you have, buddy?
Johnson down here from Bakersfield, California. Brian, you're wearing a lot of hats this weekend. Not only one of the participants, but you're also helping with tech inspection. Tell us about your event so far.
Great event. Awesome raceway here. Great facility. Track's a fun layout. A little technical, so it's, a little challenging. Fast lap, so it's great,
How long have you been racing RC?
3 years. This is my third year racing.
What was the catalyst that got you into it?
Just something else to do. I used to do remote control planes and got out of that and got into cars.
Oh, it's good to have you here. We appreciate all your help putting this all together and being part of the team.
All right, thank you.
All right, Brian Johnson there. One of the many spokes in the wheels putting all this together here at Visions RC.
Thanks a lot, Scotty. Great interview, and nice to hear from these guys, no matter what level they are at. So out of airplanes and into cars it is. We're going to take a quick break here one more time, but do not go away. When we come back, the Invite drivers, some of the absolute best in the world, will be here.
And we are back. Take a look here at our ProTech RC pit lane cam as we get set to go for our invite drivers here from Mid-America Outdoors for the Visions Off-Road. These drivers getting topped off here as they get set to go for seating round number 1, Invite Nitro Buggy, some of the best in the world right here on this RC track here this weekend. We got Ty Tessman, Jared Tebow, Seth Van Dalen, Jared Wiggins, Cole Ogden, Mason Fuller, Ryan Mayfield, Ryan Lutz, Ryan Pavitas, Tanner Denny, Spencer Rivkin, and of course we'll have 4 of those open class drivers working their way up as well.
And a good look at the controllers that they are all using up there. You can see that the track has been groomed here a little bit as well. I love the eye contact from the mechanics down there. Everybody giving each other a nod. Okay, pretty much a 3-2-1. Let's let them go. So a little bit of communication down there on pit road as well.
Well, this is going to be an excellent preview here, although it's only seating practice of tomorrow's qualifying sessions. And, of course, leading into Saturday's main events are our 3-moto format that we've got on Saturday. These 10-minute races, we've talked about as hot as it is, most of these drivers are going to have to pit at least once. If not, I don't think we have to pit twice. If you got to pit twice in 10 minutes, you may have more problems than just finishing the race.
And, of course, almost all of these drivers, I believe, are in the E-Class as well, and came out here, got a really good feel for what they want their cars to do. I'm sure went back, made whatever chassis adjustments they felt like would apply here to the Nitro car. Look at them clearing this step up here already. Mayfield I saw do it before as well, so they're going to attack this track here pretty hardcore now, I would think. Oh, man.
Yeah, it looks like, speaking of Mayfield, that's Mayfield. They're having some problems. That is one driver we did not see in the Invite e-buggy class this weekend that we have in the Invite, which kind of surprises me a little bit. So Mayfield not out there in e-buggy, only running the Nitro Buggy class here this weekend, focusing on one class, whereas somebody like Cole Ogden, he talked about on the driver's stand after his e-buggy session. He tried some things with the e-buggy. He liked the way it worked, and now he's going to apply it to the Nitro car.
Good look here at Fuller. Mason Fuller currently second on the board. Quick lap 20.63, 20.54 now out of Jared Tebow, and we saw Tebow at the top of the ranks there in the electric class as well. Now we're talking about individual lap times here as they'll all start picking them off down into the 20s. 20.5 quickest we've seen so far, 20.6 out of Jared Wiggins, but Wiggins at the top for the 3-lap count at 102.3.
Yeah, fantastic start here in this one for Jared Wiggins, the Techno RC driver out of Texas. Doing a fantastic job here. Oh, Mason Fuller there in the number 2 spot. Gets wild, lands back on his wheels, though. He's going to be in that number 2 spot. Jared Tebow in the 3 spot. Ryan Pavitas once again mixing his name up in there. It looks like Spencer Rivkin in the pit lane.
And when you're in a qualifying session, I know this is a seating session, but when you're in any sort of session where you're trying to string together some laps, when you make a mistake early on, that is the longest lap you have to complete every single time.
Yep.
You know you're just wasting time to try and get back around to that start-finish line.
Absolutely. Mason Fuller trying to recover from that rough lap that he had there earlier as he works his way back around. Jared Wiggins still holding strong on top of the board right now with a 102.3.
Way wide right there, out into the loose stuff. You can see where the blue groove is forming down there on the inside of the turn.
Jared Wiggins, one of those drivers, he has put in a ton of work on and off the track. Jared is not only a close call right there, bicycle through the corners. Not only a fantastic driver, but he's quite the setup guru, and he likes to create and tinker. So he tinkers on his cars a lot. It's been a couple weekends pitting with him, and he spends more time working on his cars than I do drinking iced tea. And that's a lot of time.
I love the fact that they're not making this track perfect after every session. It is a ever-changing course. They have to deal with it. They have to anticipate what they're going to have to deal with. Wiggins trying to pick his way down through there and actually does do so, but that's the level of competition. You don't just drive away from these guys. And almost worthwhile to check up and try to find yourself some clean track.
Yeah, that's going to be Ryan Pavitas right there in front of him. Pavitas not giving him an inch of room there. Pavitas running a strong weekend as well. He's dropped back down to the number 7 spot here in this one.
As we take a look at Spencer Rivkin. Goes for a vicious ride, but ends up back on his tires. sort it out and make another run at it. Rivkin a little bit deeper down inside of the pack, and you were talking about Pavitas before, and Pavitas up at the top of the charts here earlier in the days, but now it's about stringing together 3 of them, not just one fast one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what he can do here. He's definitely been working hard, racing there in Southern California. There we got Spencer Rivkin on the driver's stand. You can see the full focus out of Rivkin as he's trying to find the fast way around this racetrack. Jared Wiggins still on top of the field.
Big airtime right there. Checks up right at the entry of the turn. Nice job. Somebody on their lid. One of the corner workers out there to help him out. And that step up. Oh, almost perfect. Just cased the top of it. A little bit of smoke out of that one as well, and we talked about that. If you see a little bit of smoke, they're probably running it a bit on the rich side, which will take care of the engine, of course. And another one, I think that was Wiggins. Was that Wiggins that went for the ride?
I believe it was, as he comes in there for a pit stop. Another one to keep an eye on going to be Ryan Mayfield. He is sitting in that number 2 spot right now with a 102.3.
4 minutes left in this session. Well, we talked about these guys being able to run anywhere between 7.5 and maybe a well-tuned engine upwards of 10 minutes before they have to come in and pit. My question to you is, who keeps track of that time?
So definitely that is all on the pit guy, and that is, I should say, pit person, because Jared Wiggins, looked like his dad may have been fueling him right there, but his girlfriend, Katie Roxbury, does a fantastic job at a lot of these big races. Being the mechanic, as he comes in, she tops him off, and they have some of the fastest pit stops you see. But typically your mechanic will keep in track of that, and some of the guys use headsets, some use the old traditional just scream and yell until somebody hears you and come on in for fuel, but that is definitely on the mechanics to keep track of that, which even adds more to it.
Yeah, I can see and Wiggins again just really struggling down there at that end of the track. Goes for another ride, but I can see where a headset would definitely come into play here, as they are just so deathly focused on the car out there on the track.
Well, as Jared Wiggins has a little bit of trouble, take a look at Ryan Lutz, a 20.3 last time by the line. Ryan Lutz now with the fastest 3 consecutive laps, jumps his way up to the number 1 spot with a 102.048.
Yeah, beautiful job there by Lutz. Lutz also in the E-Class. Chatted about him a little bit earlier as well. Keyshow chassis, a.k.a. tires, I believe, on that one. 11 events so far, ranked events, I should say. Comes in here ranked 28th, so just out of the top 25. Did have a podium, 3 top 5s, second at the DNC and Pro Electric Buggy, and we saw him come out here and do a great job in the electric class just a little bit ago.
Yeah, the thing you got to watch out for with guys like Lutz and Mayfield, Tebow, and a lot of those guys that have been racing for a lot of years on a very high level. Off-road racing has changed a lot over the years, and back in the day, the tracks used to be rough and gnarly. And I mean, the level of prep and work that goes into a track now is 10 times better than it ever was. But these guys may have a little bit of an advantage here as this track gets rougher and rougher, as it's coming back to them from the early days, how to drive on these rough and gnarly tracks.
Yeah, part of the trick is a low ride height. I'm not sure if they have a ride height rule here. I would think not. Typically, ride height rules are based around safety. But if they do or if they don't, you want a vehicle as low as you can possibly get it for that low center of gravity. Of course, whenever you do that, it really comes back to damper tuning to try and keep that thing off the ground, to keep it from stuffing the nose or stuffing the body down into the ground and checking you up. So it's quite a tap dance, and as the track gets rougher and rougher, as you just alluded to, well, all of that comes into play.
Yeah, it's going to be setup is going to be suspension. The whole suspension package this weekend is going to be a big factor for these guys, and they'll all have it figured out. We're going to see some close racing between all of them for sure. Ryan Lutz still on top here in this one. Still the only driver, 0.3 so far here in our Invite Nitro buggy with less than session number 1.
And that is Ryan Lutz, as you were talking about him. Unfortunately, went off the track there right at the very end. As you can see him clip the inside of that tube and then right back out onto the track. But Lutz having a great session here so far. blue and magenta, I believe that is, blue and red. Really nice setup right there in midair, and then stuffs it on the step up.
Yeah, he's got their Pavitas right there in front of him, and he's going to let those guys go by. That's going to be Mason Fuller there. Oh, Fuller going for a wild ride. Oh, Lutz for a wild ride.
Yeah, and I thought a really gentleman move there by Lutz. You could see him go up and to the left and open up that door and allow the other competitors clean track. And looks like he's going to do possibly the same thing here. Maybe it's a mechanical. Hard to tell, but looks like he's getting out of the way there. But very respectful thing to do to your fellow competitors.
Yeah, looks like he may have flamed out here in this one. Be out just as time runs out as well. Can Ryan Lutz hold on to that top spot here for seeding round number 1 of the Invite Pro Buggy class? And look at Jared Wiggins. Wiggins coming around now. Ryan Mayfield. Looks like these drivers are all going to finish up here. And it looks like he is going to do it. Ryan Lutz. Wow, out of nowhere, Lutz mid-race there came up and took that top spot. Jared Wiggins putting in a fantastic run there to finish up second overall here in seeding round number 1. Ryan Mayfield third, Mason Fuller fourth, Jared Tebow fifth, Ogden, Rivkin, Ty Tessman, Seth Van Dalen, Ryan Pavitas, and Tanner Denny rounding out your 11 here for the Invite.
Last group here that we will be bringing to you live today. Of course, we will be back out here first thing tomorrow morning. I believe we start about 9 a.m. Central Time. And, of course, tomorrow it'll really count. These sessions here really count, but this kind of sets them up for their qualifying groups for tomorrow. And tomorrow will be qualifying. We'll go racing as well here throughout the weekend to finish things up on Saturday with a lot of money on the line. Congratulations to Ryan Lutz on this great effort here in the invitational category, followed up by Jared Wiggins. Ryan Mayfield, not in the electric motor class, comes out here and proves why he is ranked at the top of the charts, finishes up inside of the top 3. Mason Fuller, and once again, Jared Tebow, who did a great job in the electric category and does so here in the nitro category as well. Nice highlights reel here as we put together some action for you. Good look at that track right there to see how it had really developed.
It is definitely, it's going to have a lot of character before the end of the weekend is over. As you can see, Richard Saxon there of Team Associated helping to lay down some water, take care of the track just a little bit.
Yeah, Joey and Christensen and the gang doing a great job. Giving us a good racetrack here to work on all weekend long, so we appreciate all their help, and we thank all the guys out here as well. It's been a lot of fun to cover. We'll see you tomorrow.